Sheenah, it's lovely to see you, and we're very glad that you've taken the time to come along this evening to talk to us about internet safety. I know from your CV that you've got a vast amount of experience in terms of safeguarding internet, all of that subject. So, without any further ado, can I pass over to Sheenah to give us our talk for this evening?
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be able to talk about internet safety. And as you can see from the slide too, this is very much a partnership. Now, how did it all start? Lomond Rotary first became involved in internet safety training in autumn of 2015. I was approached by a young police officer asking for some help and advice on a project he was trying to put together that would be suitable for primary school pupils. I met with PC Craig Stamp, our youth engagement officer, and his commanding officer, Inspector Colin Wiley, for a coffee at Helensburgh Police Office, and I was horrified to learn that local primary pupils were being groomed from as far away as Croatia and Romania. And the other thing that absolutely horrified me was that two pupils, a primary 7 and a first year pupil, had taken their own lives. As you can see, Craig was trying to sort of pull this together. And again, it was the police seeking for help and support. And this is all part of what is now a partnership. But his problem was, it was pulling this together. And as I said to him, his presentation was great, but what he needed to do was put it into child speak and also getting the children involved and getting them to talk. In Helensburgh, of course, we've got MOD Fast Lane. Helensburgh has a high percentage of MOD personnel because of the Fast Lane base. So we met with the MOD community police officer and felt that he should also assist with this project. So both officers gave a presentation to our Rotary Club to seek funding. This was £100 to fund prizes for first, second and third prizes for the winning posters. And following the meal and at coffee, Craig was chatting to one of our members who was a retired consultant psychiatrist. He noted that Ernest was using his tablet to check diary dates. And Craig asked if he had any grandchildren. And yes, Ernest replied. And it was his duty to collect granddaughter from school each day. And the first thing she asked for was Papa's tablet. Well, it came as quite a shock when Craig had a look at the device, and it revealed that what granddaughter had been doing unknown to her grandfather. She was 8 years old and she'd been taking photographs of herself in the bath. This just emphasized the importance and the urgency that something must be done. I mean, at the end of that meeting, I think the MOD cop drove Ernest home. Craig drove the police car home, and they then visited Ernest's study to also find out what she had been doing. And it really was an eye-opener. And we all suddenly realized just how important this was. Social media. As you all know, social media is a website or app that enables users to communicate and engage with others online. Users can share information such as posters, pictures, videos, and users can respond through various levels of engagement, such as comments, reactions, or likes. Again, too, children can be groomed, coerced, and encouraged into sexual activities online. This is known as self-generating child sexual abuse content, or first-person introduced images and videos. It's where sexual images or videos of children are captured via a webcam or camera-enabling device. There's no physical presence of the abuser, and the child is often in their own bedroom or bathroom. Whilst these images can be a product of grooming, blackmail, and coercion, they can also been originally voluntarily produced by the child, but then shared with others without the child's full knowledge or consent. Any child unsupervised access to the internet is a potential risk. One of the things we've also noted, it's the sites that these kids are on. They're not old enough to be on many of the sites. And this is something I think legislation is about to come into place to make sure that this can't happen. Moving on to the local authority. As you can see, again, this was a partnership. Our Butte Education Officer, head teachers, and the name of the project was now called Don't Know, Click No. And I took Craig along to the cluster meeting of all the head teachers. Rotary had given their blessing, and we now had to sell this to the head teachers. Well, after the presentation, it was a case of, what dates can you come? And we got that spread out over a week to visit all the 12 Helensburgh schools. And being a primary school teacher, I was also on the working party for our Butte Education. And I then introduced Craig to our Butte Education Officer, who gave us the permission to attend the Helensburgh and Lomond head teachers meeting, where we gave a presentation on the project, which we've said is now named Don't Know, Click No. As Craig said, all these kids are on Facebook and they're not old enough to be on Facebook. So what we also asked was we asked each head teacher to contact the parents of one child who would be in the class when we gave the presentation. And Craig went on to their Facebook page asking to be their friend. But he said he was Rachel and he would be coming to live in Helensburgh. And every pupil who Craig contacted clicked yes. You can imagine the shock to find that this was a police officer who was contacting them, pretending to be a 10-year-old girl. As we said to the kids, do you know who this person is? So, Don't Know, Click No got the message home. Rotarians followed this message by inviting the children to design an appropriate poster which would get this message over and also to be one of the winners. It's over 500 pupils take part in this important training, and we have 2 local artists who assist with the judging and the selection of the 3 winners. And from each school, we go back and we look again at each of the entries, and we will choose one of the entries from each school as highly commended for each school. I have to say too, the police go around and collect all of the posters the week before the actual presentation. And over that weekend, cybercrime come down and sift through these posters. And it's absolutely mind-boggling what they gain from both the graphics and the slogans. The Provost of Argyll Butte also gave his support to this initiative by organising a reception at Helensburgh Civic Centre to present the winning pupils with their prizes. So pupils, parents, teaching staff, local councillors all attend this celebration. The Provost of Argyll Butte, Police Scotland, MOD senior police officers and our Rotary Governor all attend and assist in the presentation of prizes. This project will be 10 years old and its success is due to working in partnership. Rotary couldn't do this alone, and we're engaging with our community, raising the profile of Rotary, which is also highlighted in the local press, Argyll Butte Council, Police Scotland and MOD Police and the Rotary magazine. Safer Internet Day, I would say to all of you, there are fantastic resources, and each year we have Safer Internet Day. It's a landmark event on online safety, and this year it focused on scams, and it was Safer Internet Day, and that was held in February this year. But on that site, you can find lots of resources for parents, for teachers, for those working in the community. It really is a fantastic site. Our recent Lomond Rotary Internet Safety Poster Competition presentation took place in the Templeton Annex in Helensburgh Civic Centre. We have supported Safer Internet Day for the past 9 years, and this year's theme was Too Good to Be True, protecting yourself and others from scams online. Safer Internet Day is the UK's biggest celebration of online safety. Each year, we cover an online issue or theme that speaks about the things young people are seeing and experiencing online. It's created in consultation with young people across the UK. This year, Safer Internet Day will be focusing on the issue of scams online and for young people and how to protect themselves and others, as well as what support is available to them. This Safer Internet Day, we will access the real scale of this issue and allow online financial extortion and also consider the future of scams, answering such questions as how is changing technology like generative AI going to impact the approach of scammers? What role can government and internet industry take to tackle this threat? And what changes would young people like to see to help protect themselves moving forward? This is coordinated in the UK by UK Safer Internet Centre. The celebration sees thousands of organisations getting involved to promote the safe, responsible and positive use of digital technology for children and young people. Here you can see the Internet Safety Poster Competition, and these were the two winners. And there's also a copy there of the winning certificate for the winning pupil. Each of the three winners receive a framed certificate, and also their poster is framed as well, and also their voucher for the prize that they have won. About Safer Internet Day, over the years, Safer Internet has become a landmark landmark event in the online safety calendar. Starting as an initiative of the EU Safe Borders project in 2004 and taken up by InSafe Network as one of the earliest actions in 2005. Safer Internet Day has grown beyond its traditional geographical zone and is now celebrated in approximately 170 countries worldwide. In slide 9, you can see our internet safety presentations. There is the little girl with her prizes and those seated. The back row, we have two of our artists, our two police officers, their senior officers, our assistant governor, our president, and sitting at the front is the deputy provost, the three winners, and myself. This really has been taken on board by not just the partnership, but also by the community. Lomond Rotary have been working in partnership, as I've said, with Police Scotland, MOD Police, our Gallonbutte Education Department for the last 9 years to deliver internet safety training to over 500 primary school pupils. We are aware more than ever how vital this training is for our pupils, with the increase in the use of the internet, especially social media, and the dangers which have arisen from this in both mental health and abuse. It's about raising awareness and what to do when a problem arises. Help is there and knowing who to speak to. We're very grateful too to have two fantastic judges, two artists, two local artists, Dot Moyer and Sheenah Storer. It's two people completely out of Rotary who take to do with all the judging, etc. And we just facilitate all of that. As I've said, our guests and pupils were welcomed by President Richard Trail, and myself introduced the programme. Police Scotland, PC Haining Gallagher, and Youth Engagement Officer and MOD Community Officer gave their excellent presentation for parents on the problems pupils were encountering on the internet and the advice on what to do and where parents can also get help too. It has become clear that parents also need help, And we will in future be working in partnership to deliver training specifically for parents and teaching staff. We also highlighted a group of local parents. One of my Heart Start trainers was a registrar in anaesthetics, but she now has a little tiny. So she's now working part-time in a GP practice. She meets up with 6 other mums who all had their babies at the same time. And one of the mums is a pediatrician. And Liz got in touch. She's now part of Smartphone Free Childhood Co. UK. As a pediatrician, she was utterly horrified that although she's back at work part-time, she's seeing babies, she's seeing toddlers, and because of the use of smartphones, their brain development isn't there. These children are not at the stage that they can actually start school. I really found it quite horrifying. We have done a couple of kind of presentations with staff, and also PTAs have got in touch. We did have a cybercrime day, and it was an online presentation, but it was oversubscribed. And we are now looking at possibly the end of October, perhaps the beginning of November, working with both Police Scotland, MOD Police, and cybercrime, and also a smartphone-free childhood to assist parents. You know, parents, heaven help them, their kids are running rings around them. I mean, a couple of examples I could give was coming up for Christmas. One child was demanding what he wanted. I think it was trainers or something. And dad had said, I'm sorry, we can't do that at the moment, but a bit near Christmas, we'll go into Glasgow and you can choose exactly what you want. I want it now. What did child do? Child took a facial image of his father, posted it on an obscene picture, and posted it on his father's work website. So you can imagine how upsetting that was. Again, too, it's the number of incidents we're encountering with kids. Oh, mom, dad, can I use your phone? And they're actually using parents' phone and into their parents' bank accounts and spending online. I mean, I could go on all night with various examples, but it's something that really has to be done. Again, studies suggest smartphones and social media can negatively impact on mental health. This is very much in evidence now. Action being taken in various countries. There are now various countries who are banning smartphones. Following the results of different studies that suggest smartphones and social media usage can negatively impact on mental health, Florida, Australia, ban children from having social media accounts. And my cousins in Norway tell me that they are now following suit with this. France is trialing a digital pause at hundreds of schools, while children have to lock their phones away during the school day. The Netherlands have gone even further by introducing no phone policies at schools. And one of England's largest academic trusts, the Ormiston Academy Trust, is phasing them out. Again, too, it's the global decline in mental health being in younger generations. And the beginning between 2010 and 2014, Generation Z, or the Gen Z, mental well-being and smartphones. If you could just move it up again for me, please. There you can see our concerns. The Sabian Labs study found that young people reported worse mental health earlier they got a smartphone. Other research includes the UK Millennium Cohort study, which found a high correlation between social media and depression. Also in UK, many nightclubs are banning phone cameras to encourage people to embrace the experience without distractions. And if you look at the slide, you can see the difference. And again, the younger a child is getting access to a smartphone, again, the more damage that is done in brain development. Teens suffering major depression. Yes, we did have a rise with COVID, but it hits many more girls, we found, and you can see the correlation with boys. Something that has absolutely horrified me. We are now going into schools and we're working with primary 6 and 7 kids, and we're actually having to do suicide intervention. I've got a poster here, I'll show at the end, where we have now got in the community, it's free mental health and suicide prevention training. It's for anybody within the Argyll and Bute catchment area, but I know health boards are going to be taking this on board and also sending it out to schools and sort of like anyone working with children. It really has been an absolute eye-opener. And again, the age of the first smartphone, tablet, and mental well-being outcomes, that was May 15, 2023. The summary of that, there is now a well-documented trend of progressive global decline in mental well-being for each younger generation that began sometime between the years of 2010 and 14. One prominent global change that has tracked this trend has been the advent of the smartphone, which provides 24/7 access to the internet and has changed the cognitive and social habits of users. Today, 18 to 24-year-olds, those born after 1998 and part of Generation Z, are the first generation who went through adolescence with this technology. Here we look at their mental well-being in relation to the age at which they first got their own smartphone or tablet to determine the cumulative impact of growing up with smartphones, a term we use going forward to mean both phones and tablets. Are those young adults who got their first smartphones at age 6 doing worse than those who didn't get one until age 13 or 18? It's the great rewiring of childhood. A play-based childhood faded out gradually between 1980 and 1920. Phone-based childhood stormed in with smartphones, social media, and high-speed internet, 2010, 2015. We have overprotected our children in the real world and unprotected them online. There are a huge range of resources for parents, carers, teachers, social workers, healthcare professionals, etc., covering issues including sexual abuse, gaming, misinformation, online bullying, pornography, social media, and there's a little bit there that you could have a look at and also get some more information. Best practice, a checklist to keep children safe online, age boundaries, learn about platforms children use, safety and settings, and again, there's a list of some resources. It would be a few weeks after this, Police Scotland had been doing a lot of research on internet safety because of the numbers of arrests, etc., that were taking place connected with the problems with the internet and young people. And I'd also managed to get some information from Professor Debbie Fry. She's at Edinburgh University, and she was rather concerned about the internet and phones, and she had 2 young children. It wasn't so much what her 2 kids were doing, but it was when kids came over and they had their phones, and it was what they were up to. And then their kids were having a look at this. And the comment she made after this was her concerns. She approached every education authority in Scotland and she asked, could you please give me permission to come into school and speak to your kids? But she didn't want to come to an assembly. She wanted to roam about with them at break time and talk to them about their phones, their tablets, what did they do online, sit with them when they were having their lunch, and again, have a look at what they were doing online. She recorded 150,000 incidents of abuse, and only 2,000 of those had reached Police Scotland. Hence why Police Scotland then took the initiative. And it was just a couple of weeks after that. It was the superintendent who'd been in charge of this in Police Scotland was speaking on a BBC Radio Scotland, talking about this and about the number of arrests they were now making each week. And they were saying, did anybody have any comments? I've got a link into BBC Scotland. I just sent them a text and told them what I was doing. Good grief. The phone rang instantly. And the producer said, Mrs. Nelson, we have 9 minutes left. Will you please talk? Please tell us what you're doing in partnership with Rotary, which I was delighted to do, and also highlight what Rotary is doing. I mean, as she said, once upon a time, a child's home was its sanctuary. That's no longer the case because parents aren't aware of what these kids are doing when they're up in their bedrooms. And two, it's all the apps and the sites that they're on, and they're not old enough to be on those sites. And again, legislation is coming into place, hopefully with that, and also with looking at gaming sites. But the other thing that Debbie Fry pointed out and said, before you hand your child the phone, the tablet, or the laptop, put parental controls on it and also monitor what your child is doing and sit down with that child and have conversations with them. And I mean, the resources to do that can be found on Safer Internet Day. It is an excellent resource and also something that parents can do with kids. I mean, and there's lots of things on the internet that parents could do as a family as well. And this is what we should be looking at. As I've said, there's a huge range of resources and it covers lots and lots of issues. But again, what we really need to look at is best practice for parents and now working with parents. I hope you've learned a little bit more about internet safety, and thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to come along and speak to you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheenah. That was a tremendous amount of information. Obviously, we'll open up to questions from our members. Sheenah, if you're quite happy to take some questions, or
if it would help too, I could send you various links.
Yeah, that
about
would be
smartphones
great.
And all sorts of things like that. And if you could get those out to your Rotary clubs as well, the help is there. And again, one of the things that has really rocked me this time, this last year when we were working with kids, Haining, fantastic cop, she brought up two things. And she said to the kids, right, if you post or if you receive an obscene image or something that you shouldn't be receiving, and you don't tell me, you're in trouble. If I find that you have received something like this and you post it off to somebody else, I'll be coming to ring your doorbell and I'll be coming into your house and your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, your TV, the lot will go. And also pointing out to these kids, you may be 10 years old, but you've now been charged. You have a criminal record. You know, once you get to secondary stage, and once you get to the stage where you're applying for college, university, or for employment, that's going to be there. So please do not do this. This is your future, and you're throwing away your future. I know of a case just recently. It was a young lad, absolutely brilliant, brilliant. And he was 13 and he sent something stupid on Facebook to one of his friends. Went for the interview at university, sitting with the panel. They asked him one or two questions. And then one of the panel members said, "Would you like to explain this?" And he said, "Oh, this is something I did when I was 13. Well, thank you very much. Goodbye."
Mm.
He was absolutely, absolutely in bits over this. He didn't get into that university of his choice. He did, thankfully, manage to get into another university and is doing medicine. But it's trying to get through to these kids. You know, what you do is going to have an impact. I'm also talking to one of the community police officers at one of their meetings I've been invited to. They were saying the terrorism threat is still there, that's heightened. And it's the number of kids who maybe click a link with this. And then it's very slowly they're being groomed. And then the next thing we know, this is the child who's taking a gun into school. And it's more or less like a copycat type thing, as is happening in America. And also, there's another event that happened, and it was a child, third generation of an Islamic family, had been born here. His parents didn't have a clue what this kid was doing. They were absolutely horrified. I mean, and it's not just what it does to the kid, it's what it does to the entire family. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Sorry, I need to shut up. I could
No,
talk.
no, that's fine. I mean, one of the things I was going to ask you, I mean, obviously there's a huge amount of resources and training out there
Yes.
for children and for parents. Um, having worked in early years and worked with some quite difficult families, one of the things that we found was about trying to educate the parents,
That's the
and
problem.
it's a cultural thing. You
It
know,
is.
the organisation I worked for worked in prisons with fathers who were in prison, and to try and get them to interact with their child and all of these um, really important issues. And what they found, or what we found, was the fact that these parents didn't know anything about eye contact with their
No,
child, about
no,
reading to the
no.
importance of reading. And I feel that all this internet stuff, you can do as much training and information to children, but there is
It's
a
the
section
parents.
of parents out there that, one, don't give a damn what the kids are doing half the time,
Hmm.
and really don't understand the difficulties and what the children can get into. So, you know, I
Hmm.
think my question is, how are we getting to these parents to be able to make them understand what can happen?
What we're now doing, when we go in, we kind of chat to the kids about, have you got a smartphone? Have you got a tablet? Have you got a password for this? And they'll
Mm-hmm.
talk to you about that and tell you that. If the cops ask them, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cops give their presentation. We do our bit about we need your help in a poster. And then we let the kids talk. Now we say to the staff, button it. And you can
Yeah.
see some of the staff are ready to crack up as to
Uh-huh.
what's coming out. This is new to them. So we make sure we have time at the end that we then work with the staff. But what is now happening, when the schools organise a parents' evening, the
Mm-hmm.
parent has a time to come along, but we've now got the cops there on site, getting the parents and sort of educating the parents. And what we say to both parents and to kids, if something happens and you're worried about things or you don't know what to do about it, speak to an adult, speak to your teacher. And as the cops say, come and speak to us.
Mm-hmm.
Help is there. What really terrifies me is the number of times we've had attempted suicides and suicides.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and it's horrendous. But that's what we're doing. And we've also been speaking to PTAs. They have taken that on board, and we'll be doing a series of internet safety for parents.
Yeah.
Doing them in clusters, maybe getting 2 or 3 schools, PTAs together with parents, and working it through that way.
Right, well, it's my pleasure on behalf of the club, Sheenah, to say thank you very much for giving us all of your time this evening. I'm sure we will all go away with some food for thought. I have to say I'm very guilty of my granddaughter. Gran, can I use your iPad? Yes, you can. I mean, there isn't anything there that I've got to worry about, but it does make you realise that
Yes.
I should be checking, when they've been using it, just to make sure. I'm quite sure there isn't anything, but as you say, it can affect everybody, and
Yes.
nobody's excluded from these things. So again, hopefully you've raised awareness for all of us, for grandchildren, etc., that are using iPads and phones, etc. But if I can just say thank you very much again, and if we can show our appreciation in the usual manner, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the
Not a
invitation.
problem. Thank you, Sheenah. Thank you.